Welcome, my friends, to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we dive into unique strategies and stories to help you and your team achieve maximum potential and flow, even in high stakes moments. I am honored to have an amazing creator, poetic father, and founder of Not Apologetic Studios, Masada Ellis. Welcome, Masada.
Welcome, Melinda. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very honored to be on the Speak and Flow. I thank you very much for allowing me to share my gifts with you in the world and for sharing your gifts with me in my world as well.
I'm so glad you're here. You have your sons in the background, and I'd love for the audience to get to know you more. You have a poem, you write poems. And so let's just kick it off with hearing one of your poems.
So this one is called Paradoxes, and basically, I believe we live in a paradox. So this is my feel on how we're living right now, and it has something to do with leadership and how you are as a person. Paradoxes of paradise, paralyzed parameters around me, blossoming beautiful beneath the images, underneath the corrupt clashes of confidence, creeping into the crevices, exposes the evidence, eventually already knew, foretold, foreseen dreams depicted deja vu, dilated, depleted decisions, drowning deep demons arousing my anger, arrogant anyways, I am what I am, apparently has me agitated, abbreviated, advancing agonizingly, aiming to alleviate apologetic not nunca, never nudging needlessly, neglecting how I idiotically envision inner spirits, superb, surpassing, shell said, stated to be, body beings, searching, seeking souls, self-sad, solely realizing revelations revealed, radical realizations I'm alone, thoughts brought upon by illusions, vertical lies, lyrical abusive, indirect, misconcept or verbal thinking, translated into dialect, not a hard concept to peak, please. Melodies, same song, same tune. Monkey see, monkey do. If not, not hot according to who. Recordings of lame in, now out tomorrow. Hollow records of similes that stimulate nada and stimuli to connect with me. Not apologetic, no lo siento, nosotros aquí.
That was deep.
Yes.
That was deep. I mean, we can do a whole episode just to break down everything that's in that poem. And it's
Yes.
so heartfelt. It's true. It's true because you could see, yeah, the dichotomy and oxymoron and all these different things in our lives. And so that's beautiful. How did you
Yeah.
get the inspiration to write that?
I've always tried to help a lot of artists, a lot of people doing music. I do event management, but then I also do artist management and development. And through my years, I would always give an artist, and then I would be doing something really big, so they would get with me, and then they would try to lower me and say different things. And so one day we were going to a poetry contest, a rap slam, and I felt really alone. And that's the only thing I felt untrue in that poem at the time, because I felt alone. But I've met more people like you and other people that made me realize I'm not alone. I was just in the wrong circles. And so from that, I was writing how I feel because they were like, I'm too simplistic or I'm Dr. Seuss. And I was like, but Dr. Seuss is very intelligent to people who really think deep. If you know every word means something more than just the face of it. And I think that's how we live life. We always take things as face cover and you don't read deep more into it. So I wanted to put together something kind of being a-holish to people when I'm writing to some of the artists who thought they were very intelligent, and I was putting every word to mean something. So when they were like, it's very simplistic, I gave them a dictionary and I said, go back and look up every word I put together and look at how I put it together, and then see the sentences that each word forms
Yeah.
from the the definition of what the word meant. And then they were all like, wow. And then we went to the poetry slam, the rap slam, and I did it. And several brilliant minds came up to me from authors and all, and in front of everybody. And they were like, that's one of the deepest things I heard. And I just
It,
kind of like smirked, like, it's all from what I feel.
yeah. It's so true. It's one of the deepest things I've heard. That's why I truly mean that when I was like, we need a whole other episode to dissect every single thing that was in there. It's a lot in there.
Thank you. I try to slow it down because I say it faster, but I want people to actually catch the meaning of it. And so saying things too fast sometimes, I've heard that I talk too fast. And then from Louisiana, Mississippi, we're like, no, you listen too slow. So I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I slowed it down so that people can hear it. And I thank you for saying that.
Yeah, well, we could put it into the show notes or something, or maybe we could put a link to it somewhere that they can
Yes, I
read it some more. Would love that. And so I see you do a lot. Like I mentioned, you're a poem, you're poetic, you have you're a father, the son's behind you, and you also have your event management studio. Would you like to share more about that and what you do in the community too?
Yes.
And what makes you passionate about that? Because you obviously have a lot of passion in what you do.
My passion comes from life. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which we all know Mississippi is one of the lowest states in the United States, whether it's economy, education, healthcare. We're in the top bottom five, top three of all those stats. What people don't know, in a reverse stat that's mind blowing, if you look at the most famous, most influential people from sports to authors to people even like Oprah, we have some of the most powerful, influential people ever that come out of the state of Mississippi. And so it's disheartening that we're kind of one of the lowest states, right along with our sister brother state, Alabama and Louisiana. And we have a lot of brilliant minds and brilliant things that came from out of there. So growing up, I read a meme the other day that said that I had to eat whatever's on my plate and I had to wear whatever my mom could afford. And to me, that it hit home to me because that was me. I tell people I'm a spoiled poor kid, and that means something different because I grew up with six sisters. I grew up with three whole sisters by my mom, and then three god sisters that lived with us at different times because that's how it is when you're from a community and the culture I'm from and living in poverty. You have to do what you have to do to survive. So coming from that, being the only boy, I get all the new clothes, I get all the new shoes. My sisters and them all have to share, and then we eat the leftover meals or we eat whatever's made up from. Everybody thinks the black culture is cool because of hip hop and how we take poverty and make it feel like success, but it really isn't. So coming out of that, I got involved with Head Start when I was a really young kid. My mom put me in Head Start as she was a single mother. Head Start put me into plays like the Dr. Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech. They gave me more found inner pride within myself that my mom and grandmother also instilled in me. And
Yeah.
then from that, I wanted to read more. I love reading. I wanted to learn more. And I started seeing that I was different from my surroundings. While other people were getting into gangs and all that, my mom would beat the crap out of me if I would have got into anything like that. So
Right.
they put me into more educational stuff. I got good grades. I got into sports. I was an all-star in every sport except baseball, which is funny because these are my kids back there, Messiah, Menard, and Mahir. That was their first season in baseball last year. Shout out to Skyline Pony League. They did a real good job with them. But I was a scholar athlete and got all A's, was on honor roll, had perfect attendance, but still grew up in the hood. So I still did bad crap, still hung out with some bad people that seems bad to society, but they kept me good. And that showed me that everybody isn't like you have to judge them. So from being with like a Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, Haile Selassie, and reading different things like that from Eggers to Fred Hampton, um, just all them, it got instilled in me, and I felt like, why not give back to people? Why try to be bigger than other people when you can be friends with them?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Let's actually dive into the dichotomy of both. And even in your whole poem, that's what it talks about, the dark and the light. And you have we're living in poverty, but you've risen above that. You've done a lot for yourself with your company and with the community now. For a moment, let's talk about what it was like to be, you said you had a leader that didn't treat you well. Like, can you
Yes.
describe those behaviors of what that meant for you?
It meant a lot. So being a all-star athlete, I had great leaders in
I mean,
football.
a poor leader. Let's start with
Yeah,
the poor
I'm
leader.
gonna get into
Oh,
that. I
okay,
had
got it, got
great
it.
leaders in the school, and then from out of school and study going into college. I had a scholarship to LSU, a 2.5 year scholarship. I didn't know any better. I went to the Marine Corps with my best friend. In the Marine Corps, I saw a different type of leader. I had leaders that just yelled at you and they try to make you strong and all that. And then they'll bring
Uh-huh.
the senior drill instructor in who will be kind of harder and kind of nicer to you. And then from out of that, I got into the workforce. And that's when I started really paying attention to more of the people who are supposed to be your leaders and supposed to be your mentors and start seeing that they're the kind that something wasn't right with them. They wanted to take credit for things you did. They didn't want to give credit to their subordinates. They didn't. essentially know how to lead, or what I thought a leader would be. A leader is supposed to bring you up with them and help you out. But I found out that a lot of leaders nowadays are in it for themselves. And a lot of leaders nowadays, they want all the recognition, all the accreditation, all the acknowledgement, and they don't want the team to win. They'll rather get individual success than have a company or a team success. And that really hurt me. And I didn't never want to be like that.
Yeah. And is there a specific moment that you can remember?
I've had one really recently, in the past couple of years. I'll just say it like that, to where um, I did something with some leaders, some people who were supposed to be my leaders and supposed to be on my team. And then the next time we did an event or certain things, I didn't get mentioned. My name wasn't on it. I led most of it. People came to see me, and then they were telling me that nobody's here for me, nobody's here for that. And when I researched the things, I found out that no, I just didn't get put on there because they were trying to overshadow me. They thought my shine would outshine theirs. And then I started getting questions on how could they be like me, or how why do people gravitate towards me? And I don't know what to tell people besides, I'm just me. Be honest, be your true self, be your authentic self, and people will come gravitate towards you. And people can tell when your energy's off. And so I've had leaders in the past all the time, always trying to take more credit and more shine. And it's not about the credit for me. My name is Masada Ellis, so I have a me, not apologetic. So I want other people to say me for themselves, as in, like, if it's Melinda Lee, I want you to be able to wear me, not apologetic, and be like, I'm not apologetic, not because I'm rude, but it's because I'm not apologetic. I shouldn't have to apologize because my intentions have no malice. All my intentions are pure. And I found out with a lot of leaders, their intentions aren't pure. Their intentions are to get greed, to overcome and get better in a better circumstance or situation than others, and not really help others get up out of whatever we're trying to help lead them out of.
Yeah. And you said in the beginning that these people, there's something off, or there's something that is why they're doing what they're doing. They're
Yes.
greedy, they're because it's all about them.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's hurtful to other people, and it sounds like you've learned a lot from what not to do.
Yeah, I would say I learn every day because something inside me still won't let me be like them or let me turn
Yeah.
it off and be cold. I try to instill it in my sons, who you see right now. I tell them, love yourself first, because then you
Yes.
love the world. And then that way,
Yes.
if you love yourself, then it won't matter if you think somebody's better than you. If somebody's better than you, learn how did they get as good as they are at that position they're in, and they can help you. If you're better than somebody else, don't dog them or look down on them. Help
Yeah.
them come up to you. And
Right.
that's what I try to instill in my boys. And that's what I would like to instill in the world, because I feel like if the world has that, then there won't be no need for corruption, lies, or manipulation. And lies is another big part of it. As kids are my favorite people. I also teach kids chess in public and private schools. Chess is one of my favorite games ever, and kids are my favorite things. And people are like, why? Kids haven't been tainted yet. No kid grows up with a bias. No kid grows up with nothing. A kid may tell you your breath stinks, and they don't
Yep.
mean any harm by it. They're just telling you what they're observing and what they feel, and they'll still be your friend. A kid will tell you you ugly, you tall, you skinny. They don't mean anything by it except what they're perceiving. They have no malice with it. They're pure and innocent, and so they'll tell you that and still be like, "You want to play with me?" The only time that comes about in the wrong way is when we get adults, or when
Yeah.
honestly adolescents and teenagers, and they start learning the traits and behaviors. I always say my kids don't just hear what I do, they watch what I do. And
Mhm.
they go about that. If I'm not doing something right, my kids will tell me. My 9-year old, I had a friend, or I'll say acquaintance, because my son said he's not your friend. They came over, they worked on a project of their project with me for like a year. I helped them out, I helped them out. It was time to work on my project. They disappeared. They told me they had something medically wrong with them. I forgave them. My son said, "Why did you do that, Dad?" And I was like, "Because you have to." And then 3 months later, they showed me again. They just left and never helped me finish my project. And so my son called me out on it. He was like, "Dad, you told me that you have to start treating people and holding people accountable." And then I have to try to wiggle my way out, because if you can't explain something to a child and it doesn't make sense to a child, then it really probably doesn't make sense. And that's the world
Right.
we're living in today. People are growing up talking about childhood traumas. We're talking about things that hurt us, but we're not healing ourselves from it because we're not doing the things we want to see. We're not being the person we wanted as a kid. We're not being the person we wanted to see as a leader, as a father, as a mother, as an employee, as anything you could name. We're really not being it. We're saying it, but we're
Mm.
not following it.
Yeah, and so you think that's the reason for some of these poor behaviors in these leaders. They're manifesting and projecting because they're not doing what they're really meant to do. Maybe they're
Yes.
doing something different. They're not living out what the childhood dream was, and they're projecting onto other people, or they're angry or whatever. And I love how you related it to kids, right? Like just having the pure innocence of the kid, and there's your brand there, your event studio. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
put it up
love,
now because that's what not apologetic means. It means
yeah,
be who you are, love who you want to love, do what you want to do, just don't hurt anybody. And that anybody is including yourself. And the way we hurt people, I found out is once we love somebody, then we start telling them lies because we don't want them to judge us. Because far too many of us judge, and we judge knowing that we have faults and flaws. So my company, I try to put out to the world who I am, and sometimes it doesn't backfire, but sometimes it hurts. And I understand why we got the mentality that we have because people judge me. They'll judge my life with my wife, my kids. They'll judge me for whatever I do. They'll judge me for my old music I have to my newer music. And I tell them I have music for saints and sinners because I don't come from a squeaky clean background. I come from what we call the hood. Some people call it the ghetto. You understand the difference only when you lived it. It's the difference between hood and ghetto. Ghetto is when a lot of people are stuck together. Hood is when you're poor, you're surrounded by crime, you're surrounded by violence, you're surrounded by the drugs that they put in our neighborhoods. The drug dealers, I heard Kumo D said, they're the first people that turn on their own family and friends because they sell us the drugs to their own community. Same as some of the artists do with the music they put in our ears. I had to learn from that. I had to learn not to say the N word. I had to learn not to call women bees all the time because I was being influenced with that and I grew up with it. And then I had to really think what I was doing to my sisters, and I call every woman my sister. Even if I like you at different times, obviously we're not kin and related, but somewhere down the line we are cousins and family along the line in this line of the human race. Um, so with that, being not apologetic is really being who you are, and it's really hard to be who you are because once you tell somebody your secrets or let them see who you are, they judge you. I tell people I don't like chocolate ice cream or chocolate in period. You know how many people are like, oh, you're weird because you don't like chocolate? I'm like, nah, I don't like the way it tastes of cocoa. I'm kind of, there's something wrong with coconut with me. I don't like it. Why am I weird for that? I tell people I don't eat meat. I tell my kids, because we're pescatarian, they never eat meat. And they started telling me about their friends, and I said, "Hold on, you can't judge them. Dad used to eat meat. You can't judge them because they're just giving what their parents told them, and that's what they want to do. But let that person be that person, and not enough of us have been taught to do that."
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that accepting of other people's what they do. Like you
Yes,
said, just
as
like
long
what
as
you
it's not
want,
hurting anybody.
just as long as you're not hurting anybody. Right,
Yeah,
right.
to include yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so tell me like more about so I hear you saying like to be yourself, to be unapologetic. That means just to say the things that even if you are afraid of the judgment or you think you're going to be judged, but just do it anyways.
Yes,
And
do it anyway. Have a little tact with it. Don't just hurt people's feelings just to hurt people's feelings. Think of my mom always told me to say what the first thought in your mind because that's who you really are. And I've
yeah,
started that, but then I had to realize some people don't take it the way I mean it. Even though I say it with pure intentions, it can come off bluntly. I come off aggressive because I have passion. My voice is deep. I'm a really tall, big dude. You can't see it with me sitting down. I'm a little smaller than I usually am because of an accident, but I walk around like 6'4", maybe 6'4.5", and around 230. And to me, that's small because my grandmother was 6'3". My grandfather was 7 feet. I've been around NBA players 6'6". My cousin's 6'9". That's the older brother. His nickname is 6'9". The younger brother is 6'11". So I got taught that we're all big inside and be who you are with that. And I noticed that, like I said, if I tell somebody I don't eat chocolate or I don't eat meat, they start judging me and start thinking I'm gonna judge them. And I'm like, no, my friend, I do it for my health reasons. You do what you want to do. I do it for health reasons. I do it because, as you see the Shiva in the background, I love animals. I love different things, and I start learning. With everything I do, I learn, and I really try to emphasize learning to people because once you start learning, then you start seeing and being able to accept things that are not like you. Cultural differences. You're from a different culture than I am. We're all same human. Once I got into different households and friends of all different types of cultures, I started learning people are way more similar than they're not. I went to the museum of used to be the Museum of Man, now it's the Museum of Us in San Diego Balboa Park. And it's like, besides a banana and the next person, we share 98% of DNA to the next person next to us into a banana. So why would I judge you for being a woman? Why would I judge you for being whatever
I love
ethnicity
it. I
culture, you
feel
know?
like when you come with this mindset of non-apologetic, it helps you be in flow. Like,
Yes.
we're all about speaking in flow. So can you tell me about when you don't have that? You're like, I'm not gonna like worry about everybody else's judgment. I'm just gonna just be here and be in this flow and speaking. Like, can you tell me more about that moment where you just felt that sense of I'm just in this flow state because
Uh,
you
I,
read your poem or in speaking and
No,
yeah,
it's fine. I wish I can give credit to the actual artist who said that. We were in the studio one day though, and they were talking to me, and I was doing some type of rapping. I was telling somebody something, and they were like, "Man, you're really not apologetic for how you say stuff." I said, "You
yeah,
know what? I really am." And then on the opposite, I've had a girl tell me, "You know why we don't like you?" And I was like, "Why?" And they say, "When you say something, you say it like you mean it," and it really confused me. I was like, "Why don't you say what you mean, or why don't you mean what you say?" And
right,
then I kind of paused them, and I was like, why shouldn't I mean what I say and feel like I mean it? Because what I'm saying, once again, I say it with pure intentions, and I say it with love, because I get judged because I'll walk in the room and try to speak to everybody. And then sometimes I can't, because those same people that I speak to see me every day. They'll speak to me one on one, and then say it's a room full of other people. They'll act like they don't see me, they don't notice me. And sometimes it's weird because I don't wear a hat all the time. And I'm like, so you didn't notice a big black dude or an African American or a colored dude, whatever you want to call me. You didn't notice me and my energy. But when it's just me and you or five people, you try to say hi, Masada, but now it's a lot of other people that you get around and probably talked and said other things around. You can't be cool with me. And that actually hurts my feelings. But it gave me the more authority to be more of who I am, because I understood that some people are inspired by me. I get a lot of calls, a lot of texts, a lot of DMs and emails from, like, if I post something, because we all know social media runs the world now, and I'll go back and look at the post and I'll be like, I had 6,000 views. I got 10 likes and 2 comments, but I got 100 calls of people telling me they were inspired by it. But I didn't see their name on it at all. I
uh,
didn't I didn't do this. What makes them not want to show other people that they rock with me? And then,
right,
I said, you know what? I got to be myself even more authentically, even more unapologetically, or more not apologetic, in a way that they're gonna have no choice to be like, comment, I rock with you, and all the calls and all the DMs, put that in the public so the public can know. Don't be afraid to be who you are. We all can be judged. Everybody can judge me on something, for being a man and having to learn, from being a boy and having to learn, from being a human and having to learn. We all have to learn. You learn by going through the fire. You don't just learn from reading, you learn by personal experiences. And we all have flaws. Um, when I said I had a 2-year scholarship to LSU, I had one to Tulane as well. I didn't know that meant that I had to play hard to earn another 2 years. And so I went with one of my best friends, who I haven't spoken to since I went into the military. He came way later after me. And then in the military, I got in trouble. And the trouble I got into, not speaking too much on it because I don't know if I'm able to, but basically the trouble I got into was, it was during 9/11, and we had a lot of my people that I considered friends and family. They were going to war, and they weren't getting the equipment they needed to protect themselves. I was in
mhm,
control of it, so I let somebody else who worked with me convince me, hey, let me get that, and I'm going to give it to our people. Well, come a couple of years later, a year later, I found out they weren't giving it to our people, and they were getting a lot of profit off of it. And NCIS is real, and I found out that's real. And so me myself went to a brig, which is like a military prison, for a year and 19 months, almost 2 years. I got out early because of good behavior, and my mom was really sick. And I don't really talk about that because that's one of the bad times of my life. Because before the military, I was an all honor roll student, all good, a good person. And when I say that meaning that in high school, I actually got an award from our city council, from our mayor, of the city of Hattiesburg, and it actually says it, for being a good person. But what it said, for having respect, and something else to for all people. And that was actually a award I got in high school. And then in the military, I got in that one time trouble. And then after that, I put myself through college, because I didn't get my GI Bill. I got my master's in business administration. And then I started my company. And I've always just been me. And a lot of people tell me all the time, you're too good of a person. And I read Nietzsche before, I read Machiavelli. And what they mean by that is, uh, somebody who's a king or a prince or as a good person will get taken advantage of in this world. And I've been taken advantage of so many times that I've been wanting to quit, but I always say no. Just because that one person did that, just because this one person did that, that doesn't exercise or give me the right to turn into them. I don't want to be them. And that is so hard when it's happened over and over and over again. We
Right.
talked about me being in music, me being a poet, me being an artist. I'm from a hip hop background, so I do rap. I'm from big earrings, blinging, gold chains, watches, all of that. Being in that type of environment where it's braggadocious and people step on each other a lot to get where they're going, I get looked at as a clown or as a fool because I'm really trying to be who I say I am. I'm trying to be friends with you. I'm trying to be friends with you, and you can't be friends with everybody because frenemies are a real thing. People using you are a real thing, and I don't know how we break that besides being me and showing the world that you can't be like everybody else. Don't do to somebody else what was done to you. Don't be that person that you didn't like, that you hate now, that made you want to turn. Still be who you are. Um, what I'll say about that is, me and my sons watch a lot of anime. A lot of people are into anime now. I see. I've been in anime for years, so it's kind of cool and funny that people are now into anime. But we got Avatar Aang, we got Naruto, we got Black Clover, we got a lot of these animes, and I mentioned Avatar Aang because they're making real life movies of them, like the One Piece. They're making real life character movies of them. And I get so confused because so many people are into them, and I'm like, don't y'all see the main character is somebody who's always trying and always getting doubted and looked at, but they're
Mm.
always succeeding because they never stop being who they are?
Yeah.
So why aren't you? I didn't get my personality from them. I felt like the anime creators got their personalities from me. So people are like, "Oh, you're just like that." My son tells me, "Oh, you're just like this one," and I'm like, "They're like me because I've been like this since I was little. I can't change. I won't change. I refuse to not be me. I'm gonna be forever not apologetic."
Yeah.
Last thing with my company about saying not apologetic. I've heard so many artists say unapologetic. So many artists rap, I'm no apologies. I'm not that. When anybody does that, look up the definition of unapologetic. Being unapologetic, there's one definition, the word not apologetic. So it's trademarked this brand, giving recognition to people who you don't want to see come up is a bad form of leadership. Not helping somebody that you know is a great person because you don't like the way they dress, you don't like the way they talk, it goes against what you stand for, is bad leadership. Not liking somebody because they're bigger than you in the sense of they're taller or they're more handsome or they're more whatever you think. Maybe that person, I don't think that, and that's a reflection of you. So when Michael Jackson came out with the Man in the Mirror, we all will say that. But how many people look in the mirror? I look in the mirror every day, and every day when I don't live up to the standard of being not apologetic and being me, it hurts. Whether that's with me with my kids, that's me telling my kid I'm going to play with him, and then he gets home from school and I went out working, and then we come back and he has to go to bed. That happened last night. We're supposed to be putting a puzzle together he got, and we didn't do it. That happens to me when I disrespect my wife in a way if we're arguing and two people arguing and I say something bad and I don't mean. That hurts me when I'm not being the example that I want to see in any form. Um, uh, that hurts me with everything because I feel like it's inside of all of us that we all know what's right and we all know what's per se wrong, and
Right.
nobody really wants to do that. So if you
Right.
can't go to sleep at night, or if you do go to sleep at night and you still feel that, just change. Be the
Right.
change you want to see in the world.
Be the change that you want to see in the world. Be it. Even if it's scary, even if it's
Hard.
difficult, it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard because everybody else is going that way. So you got to
Yep.
be a strong person, the strong leader to stand for what's right, even if people do you wrong, even if people are different than you. That,
Challenge you. They come and
yeah,
try to get you off
challenge
your game.
you.
They want to see you
Right.
be that bad person. They want to see you raise your voice, get out of character. And I tell
Yeah.
people I can't get out of character. Even with talking with anybody from anything, they're like, "Hey, can you read this again?" And I was like, "I already know what I'm gonna say because it's inside of me." And they're like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "It's what I feel."
Yeah. What do you do when people bully you? How do you,
Um,
that's a tough one. I struggle with that.
it is when people bully me or try to bully me.
Try
I,
to.
I laugh about it at times, and sometimes I get a little combative. I'm an Aries. I'm part 59% Nigerian. I don't have any back down in me, but I've had to learn to let it go a lot and know that that's a problem with that person. When
Yeah.
somebody challenges you and bullies you, it's a problem with that person. I use my kids for example on everything. My 9-year old, he's a little big for his age. He's mixed. He's half white, half black. He's half Lithuanian, half Nigerian, half all over the world. I've done two DNAs. I compared them against each other, and literally it says I'm 59% Nigerian, and then the rest of the world. And I mean any race you can name, from Asian to Pacific Islander to European.
Yeah.
Um, and so he had kids at school trying to call him an N-word, trying to bully him. He had women and other people call him girls all the time, or tell him, ask him what he do with his extensions. Because I don't know if you saw in the beginning, they have really long hair. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I tell him, Baba. I call him Baba. I call him Messiah. I call him different nicknames and all. And I say, that's because that's an insecurity inside them. The only thing you
Right.
can do is continue being you, and know when you get that influence and you get looked upon, help them people out. Um,
Yeah.
that's all you could do. One of the kids that was bullying him, I actually went to his mom when I saw him, and he was all scared. My son was like, "Oh, because he's a kid, you know." And me and the mom became cool, and the kid became cool. And now my son and the kid, they play in different baseball leagues, but when they see each other, they're cool now, because the same kids that he was going with bullying my sons were bullying him before. And when me and his mom sat down and talked with both of them, they realized they have more in common than not. And that's all people have to do, is really sit down and converse, have a conversation with each other. And you might not agree with everything I say, you might not like everything I say, but respect it, and I'll respect you, and we can be cordial. We can be
Yeah.
friends and not be friends at the same time.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. What a wonderful story to end the episode with. I love it. It's wonderful. I know our leaders out there, they are trying to do, they're trying to move up the ranks, go up in the corporate, or just be somebody in the world. And what a wonderful message to, no matter what you're trying to do, what your goals are, to not be, to be unapologetic, to be not apologetic, to be who you are. And even if people are trying to take you down, bully you, threaten you, just to continue to spread the love and the light. Uh,
Yes.
and that will support, and that will go a long way.
If you spread the love and the light as a leader, your followers, your people that you're leading, they will see, and you
Yeah.
become more of a leader in their eyes. And real quick, that's what this book is about, to give
Oh,
self-love. We wrote a book, we
oh,
published a book called Group Hug.
oh,
In
that's
30 seconds, what a group hug is, it's everybody in our family gets to call one. This is Sada, the oldest son. This is Manar. That's Mahir, and that's Messiah. This is the wife, Crystal, and that's Grandma Ma Dukes. A group hug, each one gets to call one a day. If me and mom are not getting along, if the kids are in a bad mood, everybody gets to call one group hug. You have to come together for 30 seconds or a minute to hug, because hugs releases endorphins and hormones that make you feel each other better. It releases cortisol in women to make you feel better, releases the stress. And so that's what this book is about. It's called Group Hug, and it's to show the world to give more love. And if you give more love as a leader, you will get more respect, and you will get further than you ever will alone, because we cannot make it in this world alone.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Masada. So how do people find you? We're going to put your website in the show notes. So click on the website. It's Not Apologetic Studios.
Notapologetic.com.
.com.
We do business as DBA. Doing business is not apologetic for people. The formal is Not Apologetic Studios LLC. You can type in Not Apologetic. If you want to find me online, you can type in m.e._underscore Not Apologetic. It's right there. If you want to find me online, I'm Googleable. You can type Masada Ellis, and that's thanks to Head Start. I have to give a shout out to them,
Yep.
Neighborhood House and Episcopal Community Services, because they got me in it. My son's school got me in it. I was the chairperson. And from that, I went to speak in Washington, D.C. and advocate. And people hear me out and they feel me, because we need to really change what's going on in this world. We don't need a leader of the people. We need a leader with the people, for the people. And that's what we really need. And that's what we're missing. We the people. I'm not saying I'm a leader. I'm not saying I'm not. But putting in certain positions, if I was a leader, if anybody else was a leader, I want the world to lead with me, because I can't tell you how to be a woman. I can't tell you about your culture, but you can guide me and help guide me on others about being a woman and about your culture. And we need more than just your opinion. We need two or three, because we all live different experiences. So if we really want America to be great, we want the world to be great, and I say the world, I don't leave no country out. We need the best scientists, the best doctors, the best engineers, the best architects to make this world better for all of us together. Inclusion and not exclusion. Inclusion is what we need. We need everybody to be together.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Masada. Thank you so much. I learned a lot today. I'm truly inspired and really, enjoyed our conversation. And thank you all. Thank you, listeners, for being here. I trust that you got your takeaway for today. just be you and spread light and love in the world. Do even group hugs, 30-second group hugs, spread the endorphins. And until next time, remember, anytime you have a chance to communicate, you have a chance to connect and to inspire and make a bigger difference in the world. Much love. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.